right, good people.
There you go.
It's your boy E Double back to y'all on another episode of Keep It There on Thursday. Today is episode 64, and we're gonna be talking about understanding ChatGPT. I'm sure most of y'all have heard about ChatGPT. Even if you don't necessarily know what it is, y'all probably have heard about it. So we're gonna be talking about what it is. So without further ado, it's your boy E Double.
Yeah. Beneficial day to everybody. What's good? Cedric Lavelle here, and as usual, we appreciate everybody that's tuning in to Keep It Thorough Thursdays. We just give it a real behind business, health, money, and self development. Um, as E just said, like Chat GPT has been one of those things that's just been talked about amongst many business groups, individuals, personal circles, whatever you could think of, whatever you could name. It's part of the conversation, right? And so you may be unfamiliar with it. You may have potentially been using it for some of your business or personal needs, or you may not even heard of it, right? And so this episode would definitely give you a little bit of the basics, but also maybe enlighten you on some of the things and some of the functionalities of ChatGPT, as Eric and I have used it quite repeatedly. Like we since it's been introduced. Right. And so we could definitely attest to the functionalities, the features, the usefulness of it, some of the things that we've learned that are highly beneficial, and many people can benefit from. So hopefully, yeah, this episode will be useful. It'll be beneficial. It'll be helpful, and we can share some things that you might have not known about. You know what I'm saying? Right. So man, basically just the simple version of Chat GPT, it's a part of a powerful, rather, artificial intelligence language model, right? And the functionality of it is you give it prompts, or you ask it question, and it gives you human like responses, right? That's like the simplistic version of it, right? If there's something that you want to know, something that you want a more thorough understanding about, just a certain prompt that you would like for it to do, create something, give you recommendations, offers, advice, whatever the case may be. ChatGPT can do all those things for you, right? And so just understanding the basic functionalities of it kind of allows you to take your thoughts and be limitless with them, really, right? You know what I'm saying? It you can anything that you can think of as it relates to just questions and prompts and something specific and clear that you want to have a understanding about, and things that you may not be very clear on, right? It's just, and just me just kind of like really trying to simplify it without trying to make it so complex, because really, with what it does as a tool, like it'll blow your mind in that aspect, right? Because it's like, oh wow, I could do that. Oh man, it could do that. Well, how does it do this? Or how does it do that? Right?
Yeah, which so I think it's important, right? Because so like mentioned a couple of things that I think aren't necessarily important for you to know to get the most out of it, right? So like what is a language model, right? Like we won't even get into all of that, right? So to take something that we simplified and try to simplify it even further, the easiest way to think about ChatGPT is an assistant that you can talk to. So think of like a real person, right?
Yeah.
Think of the smartest person you know, right? So think of ChatGTP as like the smartest person you know that you can go to and ask questions, and they're going to give you answers, right?
Yeah.
Now take that smartest person you know And then so think about the smartest person you know when it comes to finance. Think about the smartest person you know when it comes to health. Think of the smartest person you know when it comes to geography or math. All those various different things. ChatGTP is all of those people in
Yeah.
one, right?
And one. Yeah.
So think about it as the way Microsoft frames it, and how they're incorporating it into all of their products is your co-pilot, right? So if you think about like an airplane, right, you have the main pilot and the co-pilot, which helps them fly the plane, but the main pilot is, the one responsible. So this Chat GPT is your co-pilot. You're in the driver's seat. What do you want to learn? What do you want to know? What are you trying to accomplish? And then this helps you to accomplish it, right? And in some cases, it can actually do the work for you, if I'm being real. But um, it's very, very strong assistant that can help you with literally everything. And like
Yeah.
that's not like an overstatement or like gassing it up or nothing like that. Like no, literally, and we'll get into various different areas where it can help you and how it can help you. But yeah,
There
so
it
yeah.
is. Yeah. That really explains it right there. You know what I'm saying? And just everything that E said. Kind of simplifies Chat GPT, right? So real quick, three quick things that you want to know as it relates to Chat GPT. So one, Chat GPT can provide answers to a wide range of questions, right? You got a lot of questions, Chat GPT has a lot of answers, right? And so you give it the questions, whatever it is that you're specifically looking for. You try to be as thorough and accurate with your question, and it'll provide the answer that hopefully you're looking for, right? So it's another thing that Chat GPT can do is it offers advice on a variety of different topics. So like he was just saying, if there is something that you want to learn more about, something that you want to have a better understanding of, right? The data sets that Chat GPT pulls from can give you an array of different um, tidbits of information that can make you smarter than probably what you already are, right? And so one of the things that fascinated me about ChatGPT actually when I was using it is I say, I'm a pretty smart guy, right? Like I know quite a few different things, but with ChatGPT, I had the opportunity to really, you know what I know in times that, right? Like it gave me an opportunity to have more context to my conversations and to the way that I communicate just based off of the variety of topics that it can give information about, right? And then the last thing is ChatGPT can give support during difficult times with coping strategies and resources, right? And so, like you were saying, it's almost like your personal assistant, right? It's a tool and a feature, but it also um, can act as a somewhat like a companion almost, or a therapist. Just based off of the language that you use when interacting and engaging with it, right? And so if there's certain coping strategies or resources that you're looking for to get through depression, anxiety, or any other types of feelings that you may be experiencing or emotions that you may be experiencing, ChatGPT can help with that as well too, right? And so
Hey, and you mentioned something said that I wanted to touch on that we didn't mention yet. So, um, two things actually. So one of the reasons that it's as powerful as it is basically it continues to learn, right? So, with it being artificial intelligence and it using language models, which I'm not going to get too technical here, but those language models and machine learning, as more people interact with it and ask questions and provide feedback and they continue to fine tune it, it actually continues to learn and can teach itself, right? So that's one way that is extremely powerful. And then there was another point that I wanted to make that I just completely just lost.
that
But
just comes with age, bro. It comes with age, man. It's all right.
yeah, I know, right, with age,
Don't
right?
feel
But
bad.
but anyway, that's what it was about the prompts.
Ah,
So
there you go.
the way you interact with it is very simple, right? It's a text box And as said mentioned, you provide prompts. So essentially, think of a prompt as a question or um, a direction or like a task, like you're telling it to perform a task. Like those are what prompts are, right? And to get very good information out of it, or more thorough information, you got to be pretty thorough with your prompt, right? So
Absolutely.
let me just give an example instead of like speaking in hypotheticals, right? Something that it can do, which we'll get into the 10 different ways you can use it. Something it can do is write a business plan for you, right? So now if you say write me a business plan, it's literally just going to make up something, right? It's going to create a business name, and then it's going to write a business for that business name in whatever industry. Now if you say you have a business, right? And I'll just use say you got a shoe business, right, called the best kicks, right? So if you say write a business plan for the best kicks located in Houston, Texas, co-founded by Cedric Lavelle. Our target audience is, males and females from age 18 to 45. Yada yada yada. Right. The more information you feed it, and then you ask it to write a business plan, the more thorough that business plan is going to be and align, more closely to your business, right? And it's going to almost seem like you wrote it because of the prompt that you provided, right? The more detailed that prompt is, the more detailed your response is going to be, and it really will blow your mind, like literally, right? And like said mentioned earlier, man, this will literally like 5x, 10x, 20x your productivity. Things that normally would take me a month, I'm doing in a couple of days. Things that would normally
Yeah.
take me, you know, hours on hours, I'm doing in minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, so very, very powerful tool. Say, did you want to add anything else onto that, or should I
Nah,
get
bro, we
into?
solid. You got it.
All right, bet. So the next segment here is a useful partner, right? So we're gonna outline 9 ways that ChatGTP can be helpful, right? So one, it can help you with creative writing. So if you're a poet, if you're an author, if you're writing essays for school, which this is one of those controversial topics, right, about ethics and all that. But it can write those things for you. You can literally go say, "Hey, write me a poem about rattlesnakes," and it'll literally write you a poem about rattlesnakes. If you don't like the poem, you could say, "Hey, write me a poem about rattlesnakes in the jungle in Africa," or what I mean, whatever. You literally can tell it to do whatever. You can tell it to write a story, and the same, and be as descriptive as you want, right? You can tell it to write an essay about whatever topic. And the way me and said use Chat GPT for creative writing is we feed it detailed prompts, right? And then we
Right.
take what it has that sounds like us, and then we edit it even further. We use it as like a template or like a blueprint. I wouldn't recommend um just taking exactly what it gives you at face value, because it's not perfect. One, it's continuing to be improved. When we first started using it was Chat GPT 3. Now it's on Chat GPT 4. It means said have used Chat GPT 3, Chat GPT 3.5,
3.5.
and 4. You know what I mean? And it's getting better. It's crazy. But it's not perfect. So use it as a blueprint, right? Um, Next on the list is it can help you with business writing. I just gave you the example of business plans, but it also can write emails for you. I use it for writing emails all the time. I do contract work as a web developer for some oil companies down here in Houston, and I use it all the time to write emails to my clients. I literally
Yeah.
say, "Hey, write an email about yada 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 yada," and then make it formal, right? Or you can say make it lighthearted, or make it more serious. You can ask it to set the tone. You can ask it, you can tell it to remove certain things, that it wrote. It's very creative, and you can literally say, I can say, "Hey, write a letter to said about how I appreciate him as the co-host for Keep It Thorough," right? And it'll literally from Eric Evans, and it'll literally write a thank you letter to said about being a co-host on Keep It. You know what I mean?
with
It literally will write
context and
whatever
everything.
you tell it to. Like it'll literally blow your mind, right? So yeah, help with business writing. Next on the list is it will help with learning new topics. Now this is where it's extremely powerful, right? Think about how we do research now, or how you've done research up until this point. Say you're learning about investing, right? And we'll use real estate specifically. Say you're learning about real estate. What are ways you're gonna do that right now? You can buy books and read books, which I just did last year. I read like 7 to 8 different real estate books. You can watch YouTube videos, right? Which you're gonna have to watch a lot of YouTube videos, hours of videos. You could take a course. You know what I mean? You could. What else? What's some other ways that I could? But anyway, those are
You
different
can,
ways that you can learn about real estate. Well, guess
yeah,
what? With ChatGPT, you literally can go in there and say, "How do I get started in real estate investing?" And it'll literally walk you through it. And then, based off the answers it give you, it's gonna prompt you. You're gonna want to ask it a follow up question. So then you ask it a follow up question. It has context, so it remembers what you asked it already and what it already responded to you. So it'll build off of that conversation that it's already having with you, right?
yeah,
So you can ask, how do I get started in real estate investing? It'll list out some things. You can say, okay, well, how do I do? It'll say how you get started in real estate investing. Say it'll give a response like, first you need to set up a LLC, right? And then you can say, okay, well, how do I set up an LLC? Then it'll walk you through that, right? But it'll literally take you step by step. And instead of you having to read all those books, watch all those YouTube videos, take all those notes, click on all those links on Google, it's literally giving you the answer right there, right
right there.
away. No
Yeah,
delay, right? And that is extremely powerful, because it speeds up the amount of time it takes you to learn new information, right? So if you're trying to learn investing, if you're trying to learn credit, if you're trying to learn how to code, and this is gets into another piece that's very uh, very cool about how this all works. It can actually also write code for you, right? So I'm a software developer. I've literally used this. I'll give you an example. Say I wanted to add a photo gallery to a website using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now, mind you, if you don't code, you probably don't even know what that is. You might have heard of HTML, whatever.
HTML and what Java? What
CSS and
Java
JavaScript,
Juice?
right? So I can literally ask ChatGPT, right? I can say, hey, write the code for a photo gallery that has a row of 4 images that scroll where you can put, or I can say create a photo gallery with 16 images that scrolls where 4 is visible at a time using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It'll literally write the code for me, and now all I need to do is take that code and put it into my existing code on my website, and I'll have that that photo gallery.
Yeah,
Never ever has there ever been anything like that before. You know what I mean? So imagine that from somebody who's learning how to code, right? So say you can take a piece of code, copy it in Chat GPT, and you can say, hey, what is this code doing? And it'll literally explain it to you. And say the explanation it gives you is still a little too technical. You can say, hey, explain what this code is doing um, to a 10-year-old,
yeah.
and
I
it'll
actually did
literally
something like
break
that the
it
other
down
day.
and give you analogies that a 10-year-old would
I
understand to
understand. Yeah,
understand what the code is doing, right? And you can use that with everything, right? If you ask about credit and it gives you a word, or some sort of complex situation, you can say, okay, well, explain it how you would to a 10-year-old, and it'll simplify it for you, right?
yeah,
So very, very, very powerful. Next on the list is it can summarize reports, meeting notes, and other text, right? So say, what's a good example? Say you took a lot of meeting notes for a meeting you had at work, and the meeting was like 2 months ago, and you don't want to like necessarily read through all the notes. Say it was, you took a lot of notes on your computer, and it was like 3 pages, in Word, right? You can literally copy the notes, paste it in Chat GPT, and ask it to summarize it for you, right? And it'll literally summarize what those 3 pages are about, right?
yeah,
Very, very powerful when it comes to businesses, right? And how businesses can leverage that, and how it can speed up the amount of time it take you, to review certain things, right? Because otherwise you would have had to read through those 3 pages. It'll literally summarize it for you in a couple seconds.
yep.
next on the list is it can translate text into different languages. So, which there's other tools that can do that already, right? Google Translate and various different things, but still pretty cool that it can do that. It can help with marketing. So if you're like running, Facebook ads or Google ads, or even if you're not necessarily running ads, but you're just marketing things on your social media pages, it can, write out product descriptions for you. It can write out keywords for you. It can help you with, finding your target audience. It can help you with,
Caption.
creative ideas for ads, right?
Yeah.
You can say, hey, say you're a shoe, or I don't know, say you're a hat brand and you just released a new hat. You can ask ChatGPT like, hey, I just released this new circle patch snapback hat. Can you create an ad for Facebook that appeals to, the age range of 18 to 35, whatever, and it'll literally write an ad for you. So very, very powerful for marketing. It can help you. Now this is cool as hell. So it can help you find the name of a song or a movie. How many times have you been in a situation where like you can remember the scene from the movie, you can remember the actor, or you can remember the words of the song, but you don't know the name of it? You can literally type in whatever you remember, right? So you can type in the words of the song and say, what song is this? And it'll tell you what song it is, right?
Yeah.
Same with a movie. You can type in, a scene of the movie, some of the actors that are in the movie, and it'll tell you which movie it is, right? And it also can make suggestions for you for songs and movies, right? So say you want to watch a movie, and you want an action flick that I don't know what type of, I'm not a big movie buff like that, but I'm sure somebody can come up with a very creative prompt on the type of movie they want to watch, if they're super picky, and it'll make movie recommendations for you, right? Um, that was 9 things, right? And that does not even cover
Cover
a little
everything.
bit of what it can do, right?
Yeah.
We just wanted to highlight some creative ways that you can use it, where it'll be very powerful. But if anybody, I see there's some people watching live on YouTube. I see we got some viewers, and then I see some people on Facebook too. If y'all have some questions about Chat GPT, let us know. Um, and we can answer them while we're doing this episode, right? Um, so what's the impact? The impact is huge, right? I'm gonna just keep it as simple as that. A lot of people ask, will artificial intelligence replace jobs? And the answer is yes, it will, 100%. But it will also create jobs. Okay, and how? Right. The way it will create jobs is this is going to allow people who um haven't had the resources before to start businesses. It's giving them that power without needing all those resources, right? And what do I mean by that? A person might not have the money to pay for a website developer. A person
Yeah.
may not have the money to hire a professional marketer, right? They may not have the money to invest in somebody to help them with their search engine optimization, or they may have all the ideas in the world, but they're just not very good at writing, right? Writing out their business plan to present to a bank to get approval for a loan, or whatever the case may be. What artificial intelligence and Chat GPT does is allows those people who have been underserved and not having all the wherewithal and resources to do certain things to now do those things in a fraction of the time, right? So a person may lose their marketing job at work because now one person can do the job of five. But now those people that were fired could start their own businesses and whatever it is that they wanted to do and get it off the ground in a fraction of the time, which creates more opportunity and jobs for other individuals, right?
Yeah, it
So
is.
yes, I do think it will take jobs, but it also will create them. And I think it'll be a net gain long term, right? So it's very important to understand this technology because we're at the very beginning of it, and it's going to continue to grow and expand and get better. And those who grasp it now and learn how to use it to improve their productivity, you're going to be a step ahead of those who aren't paying attention right now, right? And like I said, if you haven't heard about it, at this point, you're gonna hear about it extremely soon. Because Google just released Bard. It's in public preview though. It's not accessible to everybody. And then you got Apple working on some artificial intelligence, and a whole bunch of other companies, trying to work on their artificial intelligence chatbots to compete with OpenAI and
Yeah.
ChatGPT. But very important to familiarize yourself with this, because I'm pretty soon you're gonna hear about the first ChatGPT millionaires. You know what I mean? People who are, there's literally somebody who asked ChatGPT. He said, I think it was $100. He's like, I got $100 and I want to start a business. What business can I start? And that was the first prompt he gave it. I'm not going to get into details of all the other prompts, but this dude legitimately created a real business and is making money from it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That is wild, right? But yeah, so using ChatGPT can have a significant impact on various aspects of work, as well as day-to-day activities. There's endless potential, that is not an exaggeration, to the capabilities of ChatGPT, making it an exciting and promising technology that can revolutionize the way we interact with machines and access information. A lot of businesses are gravitating towards this and signing, corporate-wide licenses to incorporate it into their business for analyzing data and things like that, because that's very powerful for businesses. And then things like call centers, and when y'all call in to Comcast, which I hate their customer service, and then you get all those automated prompts, right?
Yeah.
Those automated prompts now are going to be generated off of these language models with ChatGPT, where it can literally now answer whatever question, not just preset questions that it programmed the system for. It'll be
Right.
smart enough to answer whatever you ask it, right? So businesses have unlimited potential with this technology. So cool. So moving on to the next segment here, maximizing your experience. So 4 important things to know when using ChatGPT. I'm gonna go ahead and let Said take the first couple, and then I'm gonna take the last two.
For sure. So one of the things that you want to do when using Chat GPT, be clear and specific, right? The accuracy and relevance of the responses depend on the clarity and specificity of the user's input. Like that word, man?
It's
You
one
like
of
how
them
I use
words.
it? It's one of them words, bro. If the input is vague or ambiguous, you may not be able to generate an accurate or relevant response, right? So you want to be as clear and specific as you can. Don't be too vague. Don't make the words or the questions that you're trying to ask um, not be as direct as they need to be. You want to be as Eric said earlier. You want to be as thorough as possible when asking it questions and giving it prompts, right? Because you want to get the most accurate information that you can, and the only way that you can do that is by being clear and very specific with what it is that you're looking for and what it is that you're asking, right? And then at the same time, too, as you're asking these questions, it picks up on common trends that you may be asking about. And so as that conversation continues, it can more appropriately answer you and give you the right recommendations based on the detailed information that you're continuously feeding it throughout that particular conversation. Go ahead, bro. You want to
Yeah,
say
no,
something?
there's a saying, right? Trash in, trash out. If you're not
Yeah,
giving it, if your prompts aren't detailed and provided the context it needs to ask or deliver whatever you're asking it to do, then you're not gonna like the response that you get, right? So to feed up on what Said was saying, so trash in, trash out. If you put in good information, create good prompts, then you're gonna get
yeah.
great responses.
There you go. Then the next one is check the source and verify information. ChatGPT generates responses based on the input it receives, but it does not have the ability to verify the accuracy of the information it provides. It's important to verify the information you receive from reliable sources if you believe there are any inaccuracies, right? And so, like E was saying earlier, it's not always 100%, right? It does its best to give you the most accurate information that it can, but you want to check the sources, right? Go to find reliable sources. If you're wanting to use what's Bing's new feature?
Oh
What is
yeah,
it? Integrate?
we didn't even touch on the various ways you can use it. We should probably touch on that. But Bing AI, the new chat feature, and
Yeah,
Bing
like
AI,
you can go and use something like that
which
just
provides the
to
sources. Yeah.
exactly that can provide the resources for you. That way, you can make certain that whatever information that you get from Chat GPT is accurate, right? And so that's another use of like artificial intelligence and how you can integrate certain things and certain features that are similar in certain aspects, but provide different context and pull from different sources as well too, right? So yeah, check the source, verify the information. There you go.
And on that one, before I get the last two, I see sometimes people use the inaccuracies as a way to like bash the AI, right? And I think the best way to like counter that point or that argument is humans aren't perfect. You're not perfect.
I'm
I'm
almost
not
close though. I'm maybe about
him. The fact
93
he's saying
percent.
that, you know what I mean?
Ninety three
So,
percent.
but humans aren't perfect, right? So humans make mistakes, right? Everything you say isn't right. So the AI is going to make mistakes as well, and sometimes it gives off inaccuracies, and what they call it hallucinates, right? Where it may go on a tangent of some sort. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
that's just the technology getting better. I personally haven't experienced anything crazy, but I'm also not trying to get it to do crazy things, right? Like
Right.
if you try to do crazy things and you ask a crazy thing, you're gonna get some crazy answers, right? So if you work within the confines of being responsible, there's a such thing as responsible tech, like responsible technology. Like be responsible with the way you're using the technology. It's gonna be great. You know what I mean? It'll work for you. So if people use that like, oh well, it can be wrong. Like yeah, well you can be wrong. So
Yeah.
verify the information. But so next on the list is be mindful of privacy. So sensitive information such as personal identification numbers, credit cards, login credentials, social security numbers, whatever, don't share that information with the chatbot. Like, that information gets fed back into the language models, and you can put yourself at risk, right? So be
Yeah.
mindful. If you're for whatever reason creating some, say you wanted to create you an Excel formula where you using social security numbers or something, I don't know, just spoof it, put something fake in there, don't put like your real information. Or if you're creating something for driver's license, like I don't know what you would be doing, but I'm saying there's solutions out there, I'm sure, where you might want to build something with that information. Just put fake information in there. Don't put like your real personal information, your address and stuff like that in there. Which you could technically put your address if you're having to write like a resume for you or something like that. But just be mindful of your privacy, right? Be smart.
Right.
You use ChatGPT the same way you use the internet, right? Be cautious, right? Proceed with caution.
See with
And then
caution.
next is use proper language and be respectful. Offensive language, profanity, and disrespectful tones can negatively impact the quality of the responses. Um, this is a good segue into the various different ways you can use the technology, and then I'll touch on that part. There's a bunch of different ways you can use it. So Microsoft owns a significant portion of OpenAI, which is the company that created ChatGPT. Microsoft has integrated it into Bing, and now Bing is doing numbers. Nobody used to use Bing, but now Bing is legit. I'm using Bing. I don't even really use
I'm
Google
using
that much
Bing too,
anymore. You know
bro.
what I mean? But inside of Bing, they're using ChatGPT, the language model. So that's one way to use it. And truthfully, it's probably the easiest way to use it, because all you have to do is sign into Bing with a Microsoft account, and you can create a Microsoft account using your Gmail or Yahoo Mail or whatever you use, and create an account, and then you just go to Bing.com and you can use it. When you at the very top, you'll see a chat icon. You click that and it'll take you to the new experience, the Bing AI. In there, you're going to see like a Be Creative mode. You're going to see, what's the middle one said? I'm drawing a blank.
Precise. No, creative. Um,
It's like a standard mode. I can't remember the word that they
yeah.
use, but it's creative, it's standard, and then there's precise, right? Depending on which one of those you select, it's going to limit the type of responses it'll give you, right? If you click precise, it's going to try to find information with back a lot of sources, and it wants to be as factual as possible. If you use the middle
Balanced
option,
is what it is.
what is it?
Balanced.
Balanced. If you use the
Yep.
balanced option, it's going to be in the middle between being extremely precise and being creative. If you use creative, that's where, like, under balance, if you ask it to do certain things, it's going to say it can't do it. And the same with precise. But if you go over to creative, then it'll do those things, right? Um, Dolly AI, Dolly 2, which is an AI for generating images, which we won't get into that here, is also integrated into Bing, and it only generates images for you if you move over to creative. If you do balanced or precise, it won't generate those images, right? So as far as the offensive language, if you use offensive language inside of Bing, it's just not even going to respond. It's literally just going to say, oh, she asked a good question. She says, Spinky, we got a question on YouTube, bro. So speaking of humans not being perfect, do you think ChatGPT or other AI is biased? The answer to that is absolutely. And it's a problem that needs to be addressed. And I'll give a situation. I asked ChatGPT, I was using Bing actually, to write a book about an inner city kid that grew up to be successful and give back to his community. And then I asked it to, write a story, a short story, and then provide images. Guess what race the person was in those images? It was black, right? Which is assumed if somebody comes from the inner city and they don't, you come from hard times and make it that, oh, it was a black guy if it was the inner city.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
There's biases in the technology for sure, and that's very, very important to address. And I'm actually raising some of those concerns with Microsoft personally. So definitely, it definitely can be biased. I don't think it's as biased as humans, you know, but it can be biased. Yes, definitely. But anyway, back to the point about being respectful and using proper language. If you use certain words or ask it to do derogatory things inside of Bing, it's gonna shut you down, and it's gonna tell you, "I'm ending this conversation," and it'll just stop. You know what I mean? Now, the other two ways you can use ChatGPT. If you go to chat.openai.com, you can use ChatGPT there, and that's where it was initially launched. You got to create a free account. They do have a ChatGPT Pro, which I think is like $15 or $20 a month. And what that does is it gives you early access to new features, and in the times where it's high demand and you can't access the free version, the paid version gets priority access. Inside of ChatGPT, there it does not have access to the internet. So it's using the language models from 2021 back. It doesn't have data, brand new data like Bing does, because Bing has access to the internet. But it's a lot more willing to let you get away with certain things, right? Like it may take some, you know, disrespectful language or something like that. They're still not gonna let you get too crazy, but it'll allow you to do some things that Bing won't allow you to do, right? And now
Yeah.
the third way is there's a playground inside of OpenAI. Now this gets kind of technical because you're basically able to interact with Chat GPT how like a software developer would if they were like integrating this feature into like a product, like a website or something. So you can create a system, right? And so say for instance, you don't want to have to explain to Chat GPT every time about your company. You want it to already know that information. So then you can just ask it questions, right? So when you create a system, you can give it a full description and tell it how you want it to behave. So for instance, say you were creating a system for healthcare, right? And any question that's not related to healthcare, you don't want it to answer. So in that system, you can say, you are a very intelligent AI that specializes in healthcare services for Memorial Hermann. Users will ask you questions and you will give very detailed responses. If a user asks a question that is not related to healthcare, respond letting them know that you are not designed to do so. And it literally will only answer questions related to medical
That's
stuff,
it.
right?
Yeah.
So now you just, whatever question you ask, you don't have to say, you know, you're a medical or whatever. You can literally just ask it questions, right? Like, hey, where can I set up an appointment, or where's the closest Memorial Hermann to me, or where, whatever questions like that, right? And that applies to businesses or whatever. If you're like a car shop, right? Or a car manufacturer or something, and you want to ask it questions about parts in your inventory and all that, you can create a system specifically for that, which is very powerful. So 3 ways you can interact with it. The simplest way is through Bing. Second way is through OpenAI. So again, it's chat dot openai.com. And then the third is through the playground, which is also on openai.com, but it might be a little more difficult to get to, right? Like you might not be able. That might be a little harder for some of y'all to get to who aren't tech savvy. But so yeah, so well, just to go back over the 4 things that we covered, right? So be clear and specific, check your sources and verify information, be mindful of privacy, and use proper language and be respectful. I'm gonna go ahead and let you hit us with
Yeah.
the final thoughts, Ed.
Yes, sir. So there are many reasons to use ChatGPT, whether you're looking for information about a particular topic, trying to solve a problem, or just looking for a fun conversation. ChatGPT can provide helpful and engaging responses. Additionally, ChatGPT is a useful tool that works in tandem with other artificial intelligence. Man, that's like a tongue twister. Artificial intelligence technologies. I don't know why I wrote it like that, but I probably shouldn't have. But anyway, artificial intelligence technologies enabling users to perform complex tasks with greater ease and efficiency. With its ability to learn from vast amounts of data and generate human like responses, ChatGPT is an innovative and valuable technology for anyone looking to advance their communicative and collaborative capabilities in this digital age. Man, and so, like, that really just kind of like sums it all up right there, right? Like, just the capabilities that Chat GPT has, um, really it can take so many things that took such a significant amount of time, and it can make things more efficient, right? It can allow you to um, really expedite certain things in a more thorough and time sensitive type of way, right? It can, like, I think, when was it that you sent me the text message with being able to create 50 posts in 5 minutes when using
I was like a week ago, 2 weeks
Canva
ago.
and right, like even things like that, like just the capability and the ability to be able to do something that typically may take you 25, 30, 45 minutes, you're doing it in 5 minutes, right? And that just goes to the point that you were talking about earlier with someone starting up a business and being able to use a lot of these AI technologies and features to do what a team of maybe 20 would do, and you doing it with just 5 people, right? Like, or even with our situation, right? A lot of this, I don't say a lot of the stuff that we do, but
Everything that
everything
we
that's
do.
done is between you and I. You know what I'm saying? And so using a lot of these tools, and then even learning more on how we can implement it within our workflow, man, it really has improved our efficiency and process, in leaps and bounds, right? And we were already, firing at a high level anyway, but this really just kind of takes it to another level as well too. So yeah, man, like, if you have a business, or even if you don't have a business, if you just want to use it for personal use, Chat GPT definitely can be helpful for you for sure.
Yeah, man, and just kind of piggyback on that, just to give like examples of how we're using it, right? Like we use it to write content for um our kits, right? So if you go to keepitthorough.com and click on our kits, there's a kit for every episode that we do. that we kind of follow when we deliver the episodes. We use it for writing content for that. We use it for research. I use it for writing code. I use it for writing business plans. I use it for writing Excel formulas. I use it for various different things, right? Like just put it like this: writer's block is a non-existent thing now, because if you ever run into a space where you need um, some creativity, you need to get the creative juices flowing. ChatGPT gonna spark that for you. You know what I
Oh yeah,
mean? All you got to do is say, you
absolutely.
literally can say, "Hey, I have writer's block, and I'm writing about, um, you know, the civil rights movement, and I'm stuck at whatever, whatever," and it'll literally get you out of that jam.
It
You know
get
what
you
I
out
mean?
of that jam.
Like,
Yeah,
like literally, like writer's block is literally, and just think about the power of that. You know what I mean? And that's just one facet of how you can use the technology. Like, there's so many different, like literally the possibilities are endless. And I see new ways that people are using this technology every day on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on my news feed. I'm constantly sharing articles with said. There was an article I just shared with said yesterday that said companies are hiring prompt engineers and paying them up to $325,000 a year, right?
that's
Like,
insane,
like, like,
man.
think about that, right? And this is the beginning. It's about to get way crazier than that, right? So definitely familiarize yourself with this technology. It's not going nowhere. It's only going to get better. There's a reason that all these companies are scrambling, and trying to compete and get their hands on this. But yeah, so hopefully y'all appreciated this episode. If there's some questions that this, piqued for y'all, ask ChatGPT. No, I'm joking. Well, really ask ChatGPT because it'll answer it for you. But shoot us a message. Leave a comment under the video. All of y'all on YouTube, Facebook, those who go back and listen on the podcast platforms. We greatly appreciate y'all. But with all that said, man, we're gonna get up out of here. And if you don't do nothing else, keep it
Yeah,
thorough,
yeah. Keep it
and we'll be
thorough.
back at y'all next week. Those
Till next time.